Hey everybody, it's Dr. Jason back with part 3 of our series on inflammation. In part 1 we talked about what inflammation is. It's your body, the natural healing response to injury. In part 2 we talked about how a temporary inflammation is good, it's beneficial. But when it becomes chronic, it is the cause, what, of all chronic degenerative disease. Inflammation in the heart, for example, heart disease, in the brain, Alzheimer's, inflammation in the breast cancer. We talked about how an excellent but often ignored way to measure this, because again, it's hidden, it's silent, is to do what's called an HSCRP, or to measure homocysteine in the body. I want to talk about that a little bit further today. Here's an article from a great magazine I recommend, Life Extension, right? This specific article is talking about inflammation as the cause of virtually all chronic degenerative disease, like I've been saying. In a general population study, individuals with the highest CRP had an increased risk of cancer of any type and a double risk specifically of lung cancer. Individuals who already had cancer, right, if they had a high CRP over 3, 80% greater risk of early death compared to what we consider healthy, which is under 1. So 3 times what it should be. You probably don't see this. Right under here I have L, C, and Q. That stands for LabCorp and Quest, 2 of the biggest labs. You've probably gone to one of them when you've done blood work in the past. Here's the lesson for today. When you have blood work done in a functional medicine office, right, we use ranges, guys, that are not laboratory ranges. Let me explain. This really surprises people. They're shocked sometimes to discover that there are 2 major flaws with regular lab testing. One is that the tests are not standardized at all. They vary from lab to lab, which really, if you think about it, makes no sense. You can literally go into a LabCorp, get your results, for example, for fasting glucose. Your results may indicate you're fine, but if you go across the street at Quest, they do use a different range. So now your result, your body is actually the same, of course. But now at Quest, you're told that you have hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. Okay? Same exact result, 2 different labs. The second flaw of these lab tests is that they're based, for the most part, on people who go to the lab. In other words, unhealthy people. Think about our country, right? People who go to the labs. People in emergency rooms, people in hospitals, people taking medications who are told to get their blood tested often to make sure that their liver is not being damaged by the medication. In this country, 6 or 7 out of every 10 people are overweight. A third of those people are considered obese. So why are we comparing you to a number that may be average, right? But it's certainly not optimal range for health. You see what I mean? So in functional medicine, we use ranges that are more, for the most part, narrow. We're comparing you to optimal health, not the average of all the sick people out there. Let me give you a specific way that this plays out. Very common in this office. Perhaps this has happened to you or someone you know. You go to a doctor, you're complaining of significant symptoms. They're not mild. They've been going on a long time. Persistent chronic problems that are really interfering with your life, with your mental and physical performance. You're always tired. You're really exhausted, for example. You have constipation. You have brain fog. You may even have a little anxiety or depression. You're always cold, right? You always have a chill, cold hands and feet. You're noticing changes in your hair, dry, brittle hair. The outer third of the eyebrows, for example. The skin is dry, drier than it used to be. Your libido, problems there. Now, any medical doctor, guys, internist or a specialist like an endocrinologist is going to say, that sounds like thyroid. Let's do a blood test. So they come back with the blood test and they say, you're fine. So come on, how can you be fine with all the classic symptoms of low thyroid, right? You're fine because the test result, your test result, fits into the range that they use. Their bell curve is based on the average of a lot of unhealthy people with low thyroid. When you come to an office, an MD, or a doctor who does functional medicine, you will be identified as low thyroid. So it's not that in our office we found something that they missed. I mean, that's true, but that's not the point. The point is that after years, I've seen it after decades of someone being told, fine, hey, your thyroid is fine, for the first time, we see that it's not. Now, we don't use pharmaceuticals, right? We use advanced nutrition and lifestyle intervention, right? Detoxification protocols. It's a different approach, but the point is that this one thing, the fact that we use different values on blood work, can make all the difference in the world. Someone who's been suffering for a really long time is finally supported the way that they need to be. Now, applying this to CRP, right? This is the major lab, CRP. The range for this lab is 0 to 4.9. You can almost be up to 5 and be considered fine. But remember, we just talked about in functional medicine, the range being under 1, how cancer patients had an 80% greater risk of death when their CRP was 3, or 3 times what it should be. Now for homocysteine, the ideal range is 5 to 7. So if you were 8, 9, 10, that would be high. If you were 14, you'd be double what you're supposed to be, double from the optimal range of optimal health. But Quest over here says the range is 0 to 15. I don't get it. You could be double the functional range, and a really good endocrinologist or cardiologist would look at your homocysteine and say, you're within range, you're fine. So I want you to take 2 lessons from today. 1, there are ways to measure for inflammation that most doctors, unfortunately, are just not doing. It's just not the standard of care, guys. Just as importantly, when they do it, they're using ranges, right, that are much broader than the ones we use. So we often see a problem when they don't. Tomorrow, in the next and the last part, right, part 4 of this inflammation, I'm going to give you some simple lifestyle solutions. What do I mean? How you manage stress, how you eat, how you exercise to effectively deal with this problem or potential problem of high inflammation. I hope that's helped, guys. If you have any comments, please leave it in the section below. You can reach our office directly at 973-376-8383. Share this video with people you care about. If you write yes in the comment section below, we'll reach out to you and show you how to take advantage of our free consultations where we can sit down and talk about your health goals and your weight loss concerns as well. Appreciate you listening. Stay tuned for that next video, and bye-bye for now.